Hello, and good day to those who are listening or probably watching this interview video. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Adriel, she's my niece, for choosing me to answer the interview questions. And well, the questions are very interesting, and I'll try my best to answer those questions. There are only three questions that she asked me, and I'll try my best to answer them. Oh, by the way, my name is Carnit George Cordova. I am an assistant professor at Carlos Hilados State University at the Fortune Town campus, and I am under or I belong to the Information Systems Department of the College of Business Management and Accountancy of CAMC Fortune Town. Okay, uh, I've been teaching for 25 years now, and 22 years I've spent it with a private university here in Bacolod, and this is my third year here at CAMC Fortune Town. Okay, so more or less that's my personal background. So anyway, her first question to me is, what do you consider in choosing the instructional materials for your learners? There are a lot of things that we need to consider, but for me, uh, I think there are five things that I have, you know, thought about uh, on how I would consider to choose the materials that I will give to my students. Well, first of all, I'm with the college area, so first thing is that uh, the instructional material should be able to enrich and support our program educational objectives. Okay, so the program that I belong to is the information systems program that handles automation of business processes. So when I design the instructional material, it should be channeled or it should point in that direction. Okay, so it should support what the SHED is requiring us to target our educational objectives. Second, I would probably consider the different abilities and the maturity level of the students. Okay, so I'm handling students from first year to fourth year, so most likely they have a different level of maturity. So designing instructional material also varies in the way that uh, we we present it to our learners. Like for example, for the first year, we need to create the content heavy instructional materials. As we go further down the year level, as they reach to third year, fourth year, the instructional materials are more of the meat. Okay, so gone are the components of the nice to know component. We go straight to the need to know, right? So as they move from one course year level, so the instructional material also change together with their year level. The third that I would like to consider in choosing instructional material is that the instructional material that I would be giving my learners should be able to stimulate growth uh, in factual knowledge and the appreciation of the course that they are in. Okay, so again, to stimulate growth in factual knowledge and appreciation of the course. Okay, so that's the third one. The fourth is to provide them a different variety of formats, right? I guess as educators, we know that there are different levels of learning needs that we need to consider for our students. Okay, my background is more of um, industry. Okay, I am not an educator, an education graduate. My bachelor's degree is in data processing. Okay, so I've worked with the industry for quite some time, but through the years, through experience, I have learned, and additional training, we have learned that there are many kinds of learners that we encounter. Right? You know that there are uh, auditory learners, there are visual learners, there are physical learners. Okay, so and so much more, within that spectrum. But to say the least, when we design instructional materials, we have to consider also uh, this learning needs of the students. So uh, most of the time we need to consider those. Okay, and the fifth, very important for me in considering uh, our learners, is that the instructional material should be able to encourage students to utilize their higher order thinking skills. Okay, one thing I've noticed through this pandemic, because of the modular approach now, uh, in the elementary years, going through high school, uh, the proof of that burden is eminent now. What do I mean by that? I mean is, I can now see the result of spoon feeding our students for quite some time. Okay, teachers have been accustomed to spoon feeding the learning materials, the uh, learning contents to the students, and the students have accustomed themselves to just wait on whatever the teacher will be giving them, so much so that they have not learned the process of investigation. I think we missed that part, because now a lot of students in the modular component are experiencing that. Like, for example, the instruction is for them to read and understand. uh, Now they are more of, in a hurry to just get the answer. So most oftentimes the parents are at a loss on how they could, you know let the students learn, no? So in my case, that is very important. When you create an instructional material, you don't put everything there. You leave room for them to, ask a question. Oh, how is it possible, or how can I find additional ways for me to get information? So we need to encourage them to utilize their higher order thinking skills. All right, so those are the my answer to the first question in considering instructional materials for my learners. Okay. Um, the second question that she asked me is, why is instructional material, or why is instructional media important, and how can we go beyond that? Well, for me, the importance of instructional media is very eminent. It's non-negotiable for me. I'm in the IT program, and most of the time we discuss technical things. And one of the things that I find very interesting for students to learn in the program is that when the instructional media is impressive for them, it is easier for them to learn the knowledge. All right, so it has to be impressive. It has to make learning more effective, right? Because in the process, they help the learners uh, gain greater acquisition of the knowledge, right? So that's very important, the instructional media. Okay, so it has to be impressive in a way. Okay, again, I'll go back. I design instructional media in a way that the students get engaged. Okay, I just don't ask questions that is answerable by yes or no, but in a way there's that why component, right? Why are you picking the yes? Why are you picking the no? Can you expand on it? So that is all included in the media that we design, for our learners. So that is very important as well. Now, the third question: how did the instructional material support your teaching plan in the new normal? In the university or in the college, we are quite different, considering that we did not design, for this pandemic season. Uh, we did not design our instructional material in a one-time big time setup. Okay, so we had a lot of time planning for the instructional material. uh, First is we need to identify which of our students will be in the modular, which will be in the digital. Oh, by the way, we are using asynchronous approach to teaching for this semester. So asynchronous means that we don't require the students to be, for example, in online, we don't require them to be online all the time. All right. The instructional materials are loaded in Google Classroom, and for example, we design the material for 1 week. We load it up on a Monday, and we just set the deadline on a Sunday, and the students are free to use the materials between Monday to Sunday. All right. So it's not burdensome for them that they should be on a specific schedule at a specific time on a specific day. Most of the time, it's on their time, on their own, uh, preference. Okay, so that is how we approach asynchronous. So anyway, going back, as I have said, how did we design in this new normal? So we have multimedia, which we all upload that. So each one of us in the IS department have our own YouTube channel. Okay, so uh, we have followers there for the students to get into the channel. And then we have our own LMS, learning management system, using the Google Classroom. And the materials there are ranging from activities like, for example, misconception check. Okay, that is a learning material that we make use on the first day or the first time we introduce a topic to the students. We check of their base knowledge of the term of the topic. Okay, so that's the misconception check. We have peer sh- pair peer or pair sharing. uh, Now they don't get to see face to face. Okay, so the pair sharing happens through different media. They can do it through texting. They pick a partner, right, and then they text that partner with the same question, and then the partner answers that question all together. So then they create the report on that. So pair sharing. uh, then we also have essay writings. Most of the activities are essay writing, right? So we just make the rubrics. On the digital component, everything is easy to monitor because we just set the timeline in the digital, and then it is the Google Classroom that activates the lessons for them, okay, on a specific time, specific day, uh, that we want it activated. For the modular, we have to prepare it on a bi-monthly basis. So two times. So we divide uh, the month into different weeks. So for example, one topic would be good for 2 weeks. Then the other two topics, or the other topics, will be for 2 weeks. So we are using what we call carousel uh, approach. So carousel is that we don't give, if a student has 9 subjects, those 9 subjects are not given all together. Okay, so it is divided. So for example, 9 subjects will be divided into 3 parts. So for one cycle, only 3 subjects will be used by the student, and then the other 3 will be on the next cycle. So for the whole SEM, we have 3 cycles. Okay, cycle 1 with 3 subjects, cycle 2 with 3 subjects, and cycle 3 with 3 subjects. And each of these cycles have more or less 6 weeks, because in college, one semester is 18 weeks. Okay, so one cycle is 6 weeks, the other cycle is 6 weeks, and the third cycle is also 6 weeks. So all of this instructional materials now really support our approach to the new normal. Well, I could not say there's a silver bullet of an instructional material. There's no such thing as a silver bullet for instructional material, but one thing I can probably assure you is that everything now in the new normal is a touch and go. It's more of an experimentation stage, right? What will work, what will not work, what can we improve on this approach. All right, so like in our case, everything there is more weight now on the processing of the learning of the student, not much on the objective component. Okay, so for example, we can ask a student, what did you learn, and how can you use that learning in your chosen field, right? So it's more of processing rather than more of looking on how much they have learned. Okay, it's more on what they have learned and how can they use what they have learned. It's not more on the volume. Okay, as I have said, in this time of pandemic, we can only teach our learners on a need to know basis. The nice to know, we can probably put them aside. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to answer those questions, and I hope I have given you some information on those things. Thank you, and God bless.